If you're a creator, an entrepreneur, you have a side hustle, I want to remind you that building slowly is still building. We don't talk enough about the importance of rest and what that looks like when you're building something. Oftentimes, when we hear rest and someone's taking a break in their business or the thing that they're working on, especially if you're a creator, right? They're going to lose momentum. You're no longer going to be discoverable in the algorithm. You will be forgotten. But one of the things we fail to think about and realize is that rest is not only to refuel your mind, your body, and your spirit, but it's also a period of time that you can use to refocus and refine the things that you're working on so you can have forward momentum. So my plan was to take a break from releasing podcast episodes for about 5 to 6 weeks. The goal was stop in the middle of June, take some time off. I was going to record episodes. I was going to edit episodes, but I wasn't going to come back and release new episodes to the end of July, early August. Well, that plan went out the window. Okay. You're not going to see new podcast episodes until early September. And the reason is because I literally had to lean in to the rest that my body was craving. Okay. And so at first I felt guilty about it because I said, I'm going to come back end of July. I told my audience I'm coming back end of July. But I had to recognize and lean into the lesson that I learned last year, which was going at my own pace, understanding my capacity. My capacity looks different than my peers. I mean, the podcasts that I love and enjoy the most are full-time podcasters, right? They can release episodes probably every week for a year and not be burnt out because they have people to help them edit. They probably have a team if they do any interviews to help them find guests. They probably have a team to edit, do all the things. I'm an independent podcaster. I have to do all that on my own on top of a full-time job. And so one of the things I recognized last year and one of the things I had to tap back into this year was that my pace and my capacity, I have to understand what that is and be okay with that. For me, that looks like, hey, I'm going to go a couple months, release episodes back to back to back, and then I need to take a break. Not only take a break to record more interviews and more episodes, but also just to take a break from the rat race of releasing content. Because there is a pressure to stay visible, to stay in the algorithm. I think about social media and like I post short clips from my episodes on like platforms like Instagram, and it's like, if I'm not posting these short clips, people are not going to remember the podcast or look for it or go watch episodes. But again, I had to understand my capacity, right? In my mind, in a perfect world, I would go to my job, I'd work out after work, I'd come home, sit down, spend time editing episodes, but it just don't work that way. Because editing takes so much time and I'm exhausted at the end of the day. It just doesn't work that way. And so the pace that I'm on right now, which is actually a pace that I followed last year, and now that it's been 2 years in a row, I'm thinking this might be my pace moving forward for a while, is to go a couple months, 3, 4, 5 months, releasing episodes, take time off, and then come back. During this period of understanding my capacity, I also had to listen to my body. So what I wasn't expecting was to completely shut down the desire to do anything beyond interviews. So Juneteenth happened. I went out, had a great time with Juneteenth. It's the start of the summer. And it's almost like a light switch flipped off and was like, yeah, you're on summer break, literally. I would try to open my laptop and go to the editing software that I use to edit episodes, and I would quickly close my laptop. It was like, girl, we're not doing that right now. I did record episodes this summer in June and in July, but when it came to editing, when it came to creating the clips for social media, when it came to doing anything outside of just recording, my body in the spirit, it was just like, yeah, nah, we're not doing that. Okay, you're on summer break right now. We are not doing that. You need to take a full break from doing anything outside of just the interviews. Like, just give yourself the space to take a break. And so I had to lean into that because old me would have tried to push through, but I couldn't. I had to listen to how I was feeling. And so if my body said, we're not editing today, we're not editing today. But what was interesting about that time period, and I guess maybe I needed to be proven that I didn't need to produce more to still grow. My YouTube channel continued to grow. My email list continued to grow, and the podcast continued to grow without me producing new content. When I look at my subscribers on YouTube, I got the same number of subscribers per month that I would normally get when I release long form videos. So on YouTube, I released maybe 4 or 5 shorts, and they were just about things I was doing this summer. Went to a beautiful restaurant in DC, went to a museum. I think I did the rewatch listen, posted about that Netflix, the Netflix trend. I did those things, but I didn't post any long form content, and I still got the same number of subscribers that I would normally get. My email list, the email platform that I use has this creator network, so you can recommend other email newsletters to people. And so I'm getting subscribers like every day from other recommendations. The podcast, people are still discovering podcast episodes, and I haven't released anything since I think like June 15th, June 16th. And so what this rest period has taught me is that if you create quality content, you create content that is discoverable, you create content that people are genuinely looking for, people are genuinely interested in, you can still be discoverable, you can still grow without having to produce anything new. Because I can't tell y'all, those braiding hair videos, the podcast episodes, at least on YouTube, and the short clips from that episode, and I did a video on like non-toxic braiding hair brands. Those 3 get the most comments, and those videos are from last year, over a year ago, and they're still being discovered now. And that has been fueling a lot of growth on my channel. When it comes to creating content, when it comes to creating podcast episodes, if the quality is good, people won't find it. If you creating something people really want to hear, people are going to find it. And so I'm guessing that's my realization now. Even recording this video, I'm just coming to this realization like, well, maybe that's a lesson I needed to learn, that I don't necessarily have to produce more to continue to grow. Because we're conditioned to believe that we got to continue producing more, especially if you're a content creator or you use content to grow your business. You're conditioned to think that you have to continue to produce more for you to grow. And I'm learning now, literally right now in this season, that that's not necessarily true. But my rest season wasn't just about taking a break and enjoying my summer, which I did. It was also a time to refine things on the back end. So if you are a small business owner, you've probably heard people talk about working in your business and working on your business. And a lot of business owners, especially if it's just them, they spend a lot of time working in their business. If you're a coach or a consultant, and I'll use that as an example because I was a consultant for a coaching business a couple years ago. You're doing onboarding for clients, you're doing coaching calls, you're doing sales calls, client management, right? You're doing all these things in the business for the client deliverable. But when do you have time to work on your business? When do you have time to strategize the next 6 months? When do you have time to strategize how you're going to reach a new audience, or what things you need to do on the back end to make changes so that you can continue to grow? This summer, this season of rest for me was a time for me to work on my business. So I won a grant for my podcast in June. And part of winning that grant, I got to work with a podcast strategist. So we had a 1-hour coaching session, and she gave me all this great advice on how I can improve my podcast, how I can make it more discoverable without creating new content. And so I could use this time, this summer break, right, to make the changes that she recommended, which I did. So I changed the podcast description, the title was updated on the platforms. We talked about tags, we talked about keywords so it could be discoverable, not only for the actual podcast, but individual episodes. So she gave me all these recommendations, and this rest period gave me an opportunity to work on the podcast, right? Because when I get back into the swing of things and we start releasing episodes again, in my mind, in a perfect world, I would edit all my episodes in advance and they'd be scheduled out. But life just don't be happening that way. That's my goal, but it just doesn't happen that way. So most likely I'll find myself editing and releasing every week. When I'm doing that every week, I'm not really going to have the time to work on the podcast, to work on searching for this, searching for that, making these updated changes. I have like 40 episodes I need to update the description for. I need to create show notes for my website for 40 previous episodes. When am I going to have time to do that once I'm back in the groove of things? Because remember, I have to release episodes and I have a full-time job. So this season of rest gives me time to play catch up and to work on things on the back end so that my podcast is set up for discoverability, so I don't have to work on those things in the fall. And so this season, this rest season gave me the opportunity to do those things. And it also gave me an opportunity to work on my website. It gave me opportunity to get creative again, because I was doing an accelerator for LinkedIn earlier this year, and we had to post 4 times a week for 7 weeks in a row. I was releasing episodes every week, still working and living my life. And so I just felt a creative burnout. By the time June came and I knew I was taking a break from podcasting, I also took a break from LinkedIn and posting on that platform regularly. I was just tired. I was burnt out. I didn't have the creative energy to kind of come up with a post or 4 posts every week. I just didn't feel like doing it. I didn't want to do that. And so this summer of rest gave me the opportunity for my mind and my creativity, gave me the opportunity just to breathe again. I started strategizing what other content I want to post on my YouTube channel because I do want to post content outside of the podcast. I mapped out my episodes for the rest of the year. I mapped out how I want to release them because the way I was posting some hot takes from episodes in the past is going to be different than how I post them this upcoming fall and winter season. So I got time to just be creative again, to strategize again, to think about things differently again. So the break gave me that time to do that. And so I share all of this because, again, I'm still doing things to help build the platforms, the YouTube channel, the podcast, without having to be on this rat race of continuously creating. And I think we all want to get to that point in whatever business that you're creating, right? You want to get to a point where your business is still discoverable without you having to continue to always produce, especially like if you're a product-based business. I know if you're a coach or consultant and you use social media for your clients to find you, you want to get to a point in your business where you don't have to continuously produce for you to be discovered. And so that's what my summer break looked like. It was a mix of rest, a good 5 to 6 weeks of just rest, enjoying my summer, spending amazing times with family and friends. It looked like I still was recording episodes. It looked like me working on the podcast, making those changes behind the scenes, which actually they helped tremendously and immediately. And so I just wanted to remind you that if you are building whatever it is that you're building slowly is still building. Take the rest that you need. Do not be afraid to take rest because we are a generation. If you're a millennial, if you're Gen X, we are a generation of a hustle culture and we've been taught to go, 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 go. But I think as we've gotten older, we recognize that we have to rest. It is important to rest, not only for your mind, your body, and your spirit, but also for your creativity, for your strategy, for your business. So do not be afraid to rest as long as you continue to move forward when you come out of that rest. So yes, look forward to new episodes this September. Amazing interviews coming up. We have some dynamic business owners that I'm talking to. More Kickback Briefings episodes coming up. We're diving into the stories of business and culture and the lessons we can learn from them. And I've been thinking about doing some more solo episodes outside of the briefings. I don't know yet. When I was being creative and thinking about scheduling out the content for the rest of the year, I threw some solo episodes in there, but I haven't figured out what those topics will be yet. So we'll see. But that's on the horizon. Coming this September, Kickback with Keri podcast returns. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I will be throwing in some more YouTube content. So for anybody listening to this, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss any of the podcast episodes and the non-podcast content that is coming your way because I had fun doing that vlog and I want to highlight some more Black-owned businesses outside of the podcast. So yeah, the ideas are flowing, so we'll see. But yes, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you do not miss new episodes of the Kickback with Keri podcast. And yeah, I'm going to leave this video right here for you guys to watch next until the new episodes return, and I will see you guys next time.